Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is, I don't know, when is it? It is the Tuesday, the 9th of June, 2026. I hope you're all feeling groovy this morning. We've got Sarah Davis in the chat. We've got Martin Harrow, Graham Haller as well. Diz is in the chat, which is awesome. We've also got Saz in there as well. If you'd like to join our friendly friends in the friendly chat, all you need to do is wait approximately. First of all, you got to subscribe. Hey, that would help, wouldn't it? So subscribe to the channel, and then once you've done that, just wait approximately 60 of your Earth seconds, and you'll be able to join in with the fun, which is something I can't do at the moment because my stream deck isn't working. So just hold on the. I can't believe I'm saying this. Hold on the super chats for a moment while I get my stream deck up and running. I've been having a few memory problems on my computer over the last few days, and a bit like Trump's having memory problems as well. He can't remember the 37 times. I think it was 37 times that he said the war is over. That the peace is just around the corner, right? Peace is just around. 37 times. What was it? 27? 27 times. 27 times. Oh my god. Oh my god. What's this saying? Trump tells BBC Netanyahu did not defy me. Okay, Trumpy. Okay, Donny. He didn't defy me. He did exactly what I wanted him to do. I said, please don't fire some rockets at Iran, and then he fired some rockets at Iran, which is what I wanted him to do. When I said I don't want him to fire rockets at Iran, it was a bit of a a sex thing where you pretend. It's just pretend. It's okay. We have a safe word. What's the safe word, Nettie? The safe word is Hamas. Okay, cool. Anyway, so good morning, Graham. Good morning, everyone, says GM Lovely. Oh, it's a lovely morning to you and everybody else. Liam is in the chat. Gallifrey and Ren. Does anyone listen to Fart anymore? We all know whatever he says will be a lie. It's based to. I mean, there's still millions of Americans who are like, yeah, this guy's he's doing it. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing it. And you see this a lot, like with people who support the fuck over here, or fash organizations all over the world. Javier Milei, this new El Tigre twat who's going to be running in Colombia for the president, who's probably going to win. And you see after it's like, I don't care what the change is. I just want change. I just want change. I just want things to change because my life isn't great. So I'm gonna make everyone else's lives worse, and then that will make my life better. Which is the mentality, But can we just go through this? The endless Iran deal, the endless Iran deal that never actually freaking happens. Okay, so I've got a list here, right? So I'm just going to run through the list very quickly. But before I do that, hello everyone. Does the subscribe? Hey, the subscribe button works. You know what that means? That means that the confetti button, yay, the confetti button works. Good. I'm glad that's working. I'll turn that off. So if you do want to trigger the confetti, I'm going to set up the goal for a few super chats to come in over the next 2 hours of the show. So no hurry, my friends. In fact, don't put anything in the next couple of minutes, or it won't register it won't clock up, and Diz won't get her confetti. Hi Sarah, hi Graham Haller, hi Billy, hi Ren, Diz, Saz, Liam, hi Person, hi GM, hi SG. Hello, Veg Pie. Good to have you with us this morning. We've also got Sarah Davis saying, morning, Graham. Morning, Sarah. I hope you're all right this morning. So I just want to go through this, all right, because it's fun. Right, this is fun. I know it's not that fun to talk about Trump and we hate him, but it is quite fun to go through all of his bullshit. So 23rd of March, so he invaded Iran. They started bombing Iran on the 28th of February. A little birthday present for me. The year before was the exact same day that he berated Zelensky for not wearing a suit in the Oval Office. Do you remember that? Do you remember that meeting? Yeah, that happened on the 28th of February. 28th of February this year, my birthday, again, Trump decided to spoil it by invading Iran. Anyway, so a few weeks later, on the 23rd of March, he claimed that there were major points of agreement with Iran. Meanwhile, Iran publicly denied that negotiations were taking place. A day later, on the 24th, Trump said, I think we're going to end it. On the 25th, he claimed Iran wanted a deal so badly. 26th, the day after that, a cabinet meeting, he claimed that Iran was begging for a deal. Begging for it, he said. Begging. They were. 3 days later, on the 29th of March, he told reporters he expected a deal within a week. On the 6th of April, he claimed negotiators had been very close. A week later. A day after that, he announced the ceasefire. He said agreement was very far along and claimed the final deal would take, you guessed it, say it with me, about 2 weeks. A week afterwards, on the 15th of April, he told Fox Business it's very close to over. On the 16th, the next day, he claimed the deal was looking very good. On the next day, the 17th of April, he claimed Iran had agreed to everything and predicted an agreement within days. That was nearly 2 months ago. On the 20th of April, 3 days after that, he posted on his Truth Social, on his lies social, that everything would happen relatively quickly. On the 30th of April, he claimed that Iran was dying for a deal. On the 18th of May, he delayed further military action because regional allies supposedly believed a deal was close. The next day, he told his supporters that the war would end quickly. On the 23rd of May, he claimed an agreement was largely complete and awaiting finalisation. On the 28th of May, he told Lara Trump that negotiations were close. And on the 7th of June, he told Axios a final deal was very close on the 7th of June. So that was just 2 days ago. And yesterday, he told the Lindsey Graham rally that Iran was willing to give America everything. Everything. CNN counted at least, it's 37. 30. I thought it was like 27. I'm like, that's not enough. 37 different incidents since the 28th of February in which Trump has claimed a deal was imminent. Iran desperately wanted a deal. Negotiations were almost finished. And peace was just days away. And none of these predictions came true. But the thing is, the markets react to these presidential statements. Oil prices go up and down, depending on what his statements. Defense stocks, airline shares, shipping insurance. Every time Trump announces peace is imminent, investors adjust their expectations. The governments are just planning. Governments around the world are just planning. The allies alter diplomatic calculations. And, it just... No one believes him. No one believes a word that comes out of his prolapsed anus of a mouth. And he promised no wars. Do you remember this? He promised no wars, right? Well, at the same time that CNN have listed the 37 times that he has said that he has got peace in his sights. It's imminent. A deal is imminent. With Iran. The Guardian today has listed all the times that he said that he was going to stop all wars. There was going to be no wars. So when NBC's Kristen Welker, who this is the interview that Trump walked out of over the weekend, challenged him on his repeated campaign promises, Trump said, "I didn't guarantee no war." Right? So let's just take it to task on that. Roll the VT. In November 2020, I'm not going to make you look at Trump. I'm sorry. He's if he comes on the TV, I generally go like this so you can't see. He said, I'm not going to, in his victory speech in November 2024, he said, I'm not going to start a war. He said, I'm going to stop wars. In his October 2024 rally, he said, I will not send you to fight and die in foolish, never-ending foreign war. In an interview in August 2024, he said, we won't have wars again. At the CPAC conference in March the year before, in 2023, he said, no new wars. In a rally in August 2020, in the run-up to the 2020 election, he bragged about keeping us, the US, out of new wars. In the February 2016 debate, he condemned the Iraq war as a catastrophic mistake and positioned himself as an anti-war candidate. And I can say from personal experience, talking to Trump voters, actual real American Trump voters, that they have often, when I've cornered them, this is before his new election, this is after his first term, and this is when Biden was in office. I said to them, what did Trump achieve what actual thing did he achieve when he was president? Maybe one thing he achieved. And the only thing, because he didn't build the wall, he didn't get inflation down. It was through the roof when he left because of the COVID pandemic, but it was still through the roof. 500,000 Americans died. There's more Americans died under Trump because of COVID than died in the American Civil War. Just saying. But so they couldn't point to him getting rid of the Iran deal because that wasn't a good thing. They couldn't point to him doing this replacement to the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. That never happened. He never replaced it. He wanted to get rid of it, but he had no clue, no plan of what to replace it with, and it didn't go through. So he's appearing on the TV, so I'm moving over so he can fuck off. But yeah, these Trump supporters would say to me invariably, he didn't start any wars. And sometimes it goes far as to say that he was the first president in history not to start any wars. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure Obama didn't start any wars. I'm pretty sure that he didn't. Oh, but what about Libya? And I'd be like, well, Libya fell into civil war. Like, it wasn't a US who declared war on Libya. Benghazi. I'm like, what actually happened in Benghazi? Silence. No one knows what happened in Benghazi. It was just a thing that the right wing liked to scream along with Hillary's emails, Hunter Biden's laptop, these little talismans that they hold, they just shout it out. Brexit means Brexit. Sound familiar? So yeah, a lot of American Trump supporters, that's the one thing that keeps them warm at night, other than their pickup truck and their gun that they sleep with. But it is this idea that Trump didn't start any wars, and now he has absolutely 100% catastrophically started a fucking war that has spread out to about 10 different countries around the Middle East. It's not even contained to one particular place, and the knock-on effects, because the Strait of Hormuz is closed, has affected absolutely everyone on the fucking planet. Oil prices have gone up. Interest rates have gone up, which means that mortgages have gone up. Mortgages repayments. You're not getting any more house, but you're paying a lot more each month as a result of Trump. And this is the last. I think this is the last thing that they had to say. Yeah, no, he was great because he did this. The only thing they have now is they go, oh, he got rid of all the immigrants. Well, we're going to see how that goes with the American economy over the next few years, because America didn't become the richest country in the world by not allowing immigrants in. If that was a sign of a functioning economy, you would have the richest country in the world would be North Korea, and the poorest country in the world would be America, which is 99% immigrants. And to have that piece of shit Hegseth, that drunken rapist man, Pete Hegseth, come over to our continent and stand on the beaches where our forefathers fought and died, thousands of them on D-Day, and say, oh well, you got to do something about these immigrants. Oh, they'll fuck everything up. I'm like, excuse me, are you Native American? No, well, what are you doing there? When are you going home? Always reminds me of that cartoon back. This was 20 years ago. I was living in Australia at the time. And there was a cartoon in The Guardian, and it was during the time when Australia was opening up Nauru as a place to process asylum seekers because they wanted to stop the boat people coming. And there was a cartoon, I think it was in The Guardian, it was on the newspapers, and it was these Aussies on the beach in their board shorts with signs, with boards, saying, Australia's full, immigrants go home, and boat people not welcome. And in the foreground, there's two Australian Aboriginals, and one saying to the other, oh, wish we thought of that. Yeah. So everyone in America who doesn't like immigrants, you go, unless they're Native American, when are you leaving? When are you leaving? When are you going? When are you fucking off? Tell me when you're going. Yeah. I had a job interview at a Parliament library. That was an experience. Oh, that's cool. The Beehive in Wellington, in Wellywood. I bet boat people come from Atlantis. They don't need boats. They've got gills and they can swim. Every one of the right-wing mantras Graham's mentions was successful. Yes. Yeah. What happens in Benghazi stays in Benghazi. Benghazi! But her emails. Hunter Biden's laptop. Yeah. But yes, this anti-war message was kind of central to the MAGA identity because it was America first. We talked about this like a bit last night at the if you watch Stateside with me and Scott, the America first politics, the criticism of the Bush era Republicans, the rhinos as Trump likes to call them, the Republicans in name only, and this was used as a criticism of Democrats. But I don't recall. I mean, someone might correct me on this, but I don't recall Clinton starting any wars. I know he tried to end the war, the ongoing, everlasting war in Israel-Palestine. I know they intervened. NATO intervened in what was happening in Sarajevo, in Bosnia, and also in Kosovo, in Pristina, and they intervened, but it wasn't starting a war. I don't think we ever declared war, as I recall, in the 90s. Did Clinton declare war on anywhere? George W. Bush definitely did. He declared war on Afghanistan and Iraq. George H.W. Bush definitely did. He declared war on Iraq during the first Gulf War. Ronald Reagan, absolutely. I mean, he was the Iran-Contra affair. He declared war on Grenada for a few days. He supported the extradition of the forced extradition of Manuel Noriega, the president of Panama. Actually, I think that might have been George H.W. Bush. Was that 1989? I can't remember. I was very little. But yeah, and then you like, okay, well, which American presidents did actually not stop? He says, oh, but Trump is the only one who didn't start a war. And I was like, I was too busy playing golf. But now he has actually started the war. And millions of voters supported him specifically because they believed he would avoid foreign interventions. Not only is this war happening now, it's costing the Americans a fuckload of money. Trump doesn't care about that because he's just, he's making loads of money. But the right wing have a long and storied history of moving the goalposts. They're absolute world champions at moving the goalposts, which is ironic because the World Cup is being held in America at the moment, so you do worry that if America's playing, they will just pull up the goalposts because they're probably not even securely fixed to the ground. Looking at the state of the fucking grounds over there, oh my god! And they'll move them to where the ball is going. Oh, hang on. Oh, sorry, we just dropped out. My internet just dropped out there. Very, very sorry. We're just reconnected, so that's good. Back up to speed. Sorry, I was just saying anyone who knows anyone who's been in a relationship where gaslighting has been involved, you know what it's like. You know how frustrating it is when you've got someone who is looking you dead in the eye and lying to you and making you doubt reality because they're like, oh, this definitely happened. And you're like, it definitely didn't happen. Here's the evidence. Here's the proof. Here's the video footage. Here's the audio clip. Here's this. No, that's all made up. That's all AI. It's all fake news. Because they live in their own reality. They live in their own world where, just that they are the absolute, everyone's the, was it main character syndrome they call it? Everyone's the hero of their own narrative and they've got justifications coming out their ass for everything they've done. Every fuck up in their life, there's some kind of justification for doing that fuck up. Whereas there are some of us, who sort of look back over fuck ups in our life and learn from them. We get that feeling, that knotting in your stomach feeling of every time you think about it. You in the middle of the night when you can't get to sleep and you go, oh God, imagine that. Remember that really fucking embarrassing thing I did 17 years ago? God, that's embarrassing. That is your body. That is your brain physically. That is your body physically telling you, don't fucking do that again. So you learn from that mistake and then you can move on. And he says, MAGA identity is they are right about everything, even though that involves two mutually exclusive things. Yeah. They cheered me. It was amazing. Now they booed you. Oh, yeah. At the Knicks game last night, which the Knicks lost, everyone in America was dead excited about this basketball game, right? And because the New York Knicks have been shite for years. I mean, they haven't won anything since like 1999. They're like the Everton of basketball, and finally they've got through to the final or whatever it is. The first two games they won, and then the third game, Trump shows up with his big "I am" Madison Square Garden, which I hate. By the way, I fucking hate Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden to me represents everything that is wrong with modern architecture because they destroyed Penn Station, which was a beautiful neoclassical building. They destroyed it to make this fucking box. And I do believe that everything that we've made in the last God knows how long has just been a fucking box, from St. John's Shopping Centre in Liverpool to Federation Square in Australia, Madison Square Garden, to the new things that they stick on the side of old buildings like the Blue Coat Chambers in Liverpool, or the John Rylands Library in Manchester, or the thing they're adding to the side of they're putting a big glass box on the side of the Albert Dock next, because there's got to be a box. There's got to be a glass box. It's got to have straight edges, and it's got to be all like, shapes inside the boxes, and it's all got to be straight and geometric. People who get off on irregular geometric patterns. I'm like, I can see the beauty in geometric symmetry if you see any Islamic architecture and Islamic design, through the years, from the Taj Mahal to the Alhambra in Granada. There's some beautiful, beautiful patterns and designs there, but they're not all just random. None are just fucking random shite in a box. I made a box. Anyway, so I hate Madison Square Garden anyway, but it's exciting for Americans because it's in the middle of their city. You can actually walk to the stadium because it used to be a train station, so it's walkable. But this time, because Trump turned up, it wasn't fucking walkable. No one could go anywhere near and so no one could watch the show. No one could watch the game on the big screens that they normally did outside the stadium. Is it a stadium? I don't think you could call it a stadium. Just it's a garden. It's a garden. Do you know what? It's so fucking insulting to call it a garden as well. It's not a fucking garden. It's a fucking box. It's a sealed-in box with a fucking roof. It is not a fucking garden. Don't call it a garden. And somebody don't call it the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea, because it's not democratic and it's not a fucking republic. Piss off. Don't mislabel stuff. Don't call yourself the fucking National German Socialist Workers' Party if you're not actually a fucking left-wing party, Nazis. Hate it when people mislabel things. Like Madison Square Garden. I mean, it is square. That's fair enough. But like calling it a garden? Fuck off. Fucking Madison. He was a shit president as well. Anyway, New York City. So this was the New York Knicks versus the San Antonio Spurs. This is the first time that a sitting US president has attended an NBA Finals game. Don't forget, this isn't the final. This is the third final. I think they have 5 finals or 6 finals or 7 finals. I don't know how many finals they have, but basically, if the Knicks had won this one, they would have won all the finals, I think, because their lead would have been insurmountable. But because the other team have won, I guess it's best of 5 then, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just keep going. Like when you're playing rock, paper, scissors with your brother or your sister, and it's like, you go, best of 5, best of 7, best of 9. Maybe it's that. I don't know. Anyway, so during the national anthem, which is a shit national anthem. Who were we talking about with this the other day? Like, was it Mike Dick saying that America's got a shit national anthem because you can't sing along to it because you got to be like an opera singer to sing the damn thing. Trump appeared on the giant screens and saluted the flag, and they say large sections of the crowd booed. It was the crowd. I mean, it was the crowd. This was paying sports fans. They'd already been massive security restrictions. It taken them 2 hours to get into the arena. There were street closures. There were delays entering the arena. There was long queues outside Madison Square Garden, and the barriers restricted customers, and foot traffic collapsed, and watch parties were cancelled. And everyone was blaming Trump for it. And this is a place where Trump has a complicated relationship with New York at the best of times. He's from Queens. And he built his public image through Manhattan property deals and tabloid coverage in the New York Post and rags like that. New York City voted overwhelmingly against him in 2016, in 2020, in 2024. They fucking hate him. This is the place where he got his criminal convictions, about the multiple civil fraud cases, the E. Jean Carroll verdicts. That was in New York as well. There's deep democratic voting patterns in New York and growing hostility amongst younger urban voters. And Trump often sort of presents himself as a builder of New York and a product of New York, but he is just persona non grata there. They fucking hate him, So the loudest opposition to him basically comes from New York. We saw this with Mandami winning this election, and he's been brilliant for New York. He's been absolutely brilliant. He actually, in response to Trump shutting down the watch parties, he set up a watch party in New York, a free watch party for everyone to go and watch the game. There's a cracking photo of Harry Belafonte and Martin Luther King laughing backstage at the Madison Square Garden. That's quite cool. But yeah, that's quite cool because of Harry Belafonte and Martin Luther King were quite cool people. Hughes the World, Fox News claims that USA was chatted when Trump was on the Jumbotron. They booed him. Don't believe the evidence of your eyes and ears. That was the final and most important command. 1984. George Orwell, 1984. You know? Just saying. So yeah, this just to go back to the pattern, you know, he did this with Ukraine as well. You know, the war, the ending war pattern. He said he could end the Ukraine war within 24 hours of becoming president. How's that going? Became president on January the 20th, I think it was, 2025. Okay, so that's over a year ago. I think it's been more than 24 hours. I'm going to give him a few more minutes, but I think, you know, just a rough idea. I think it's a bit more than 24 hours, you know, these last sort of 15, 16 months. And then it, you know, turned into, you know, weeks, days, weeks, months, now years, still unresolved. Tariff negotiations, promised, you know, there was multiple promised agreements, you know, that he said that he had all these deals in the bag for these countries that were begging for deals, and none of them actually turned out to be anything worth a dime. His replacement of Obamacare, which I've mentioned, you know, every time he talked about it, he had a beautiful plan, he had a replacement plan, it was never produced. And, you know, Infrastructure Week, you know, this became a Washington joke after repeated announcements. And obviously, you've got the taco, Trump always chickens out again. And now you've got Nacho, which is not a chance Hormuz opens, as in the Strait of Hormuz. When Arthur Ashe died, another cool individual, MSG stood in respectful silence. Yeah, I had no problem with the things that have happened in the MSG. I just hate it as a concept. I just hate it as a concept of taking a beautiful neoclassical building, destroying it because they wanted to destroy any kind of public transport, because they wanted everyone to fuck their cars for all time. Because the more people use their cars, the more oil they were going to use. That's it. That's the only reason why you're told that oil's fucking fantastic, because they want you to burn more. The cars are fantastic. Is so that you burn more oil. That is it. That is the reason why American companies buy up railways, and why we privatized the railways in this country, why we had the Beeching Acts. The Beeching Acts was pushed by the oil companies, by the car companies, by the tire companies, because they wanted to destroy the competition. So any destruction of a railway station, whether it's a beautiful railway station like Penn Station, or whether it's, you know, suburban rail, like in Liverpool, the Loop Line, taken away in 1979. The tracks were pulled up, and yeah, it's a nice walking track now. But the reality is, it could be so much more. You could have a tram line on the old Loop Line in Liverpool. I'd love to see that. We've got a train line that goes through all the villages here in the west of Durham. Used to go to all the pit villages. This is a pit village, so we used to have a train station. It would have been just down the road from us, but no, we don't have a train station here because of the terrible things they do. The Tories, because they got taken away in the 1960s because the guy who was in charge of transport, the Secretary of State for Transportation, was a guy called Ernest Marples, who was a fucking crook, a Tory crook. And he commissioned Dr. Beeching, who got all the blame, from ICI. He said, "Come over here and can you manipulate the data so I can have justification to shut down all these stations?" And they did it. They shut down, what was it? Half of all the stations in Britain were shut down. In Liverpool, there's over 50 closed railway stations. Can you believe that? 50. I think it's 50. I think it's 43. I counted them up once. Closed railway stations. If that network was still there, it would rival, I mean, for the size of Liverpool, it would rival London. But we took it away. You know, everyone in Liverpool pretty much would be sort of 10, 15 minutes walk from a train station. But we took it away. Why? Because the roads. We had a very, very, very corrupt Tory, of course, Secretary of State for Transport. He sold his shares to his wife for his company, which is called Marple's Ridgeway Construction, which made the Hammersmith flyover. It was a construction company. And he sold it to his wife. He was obviously getting backhanders from the oil companies, the oil giants. Keep burning oil. We need more oil. Because the amount of oil that a train uses to take over 100 people somewhere is a lot less than the amount of oil that a car uses if you have 1,000 cars going to the same destination, obviously. The tram lines are still under the central reservations in Liverpool. They are, that's very true. Although there was no tram line on Queen's Drive. I don't think Queen's Drive had a tram line on it. I think people think that it did, but it didn't. But yeah, you're right. But the old train lines, just put them back. Just put them back. Just put them back. Just put them fucking back. Yeah, make them tram lines. I think the one in the Valor in the old loop line, I think that should be a tram line, because then you just move out the way when the trams come. Trams trundle along at 20 miles an hour. They don't need to go fast. There's someone on the track, just stop, ring the bell, like they do in Manchester. You see in Manchester city centre where the trams go, and near the Arndale Centre on the main road there, Market Street, and there's just people everywhere on a Saturday. And they just move out the way. The tram's coming. Okay, we better move out the way then. So trams are moving so slow. Doesn't matter. Trains are not really a threat to the automotive industry, though, says Maggie Pike. Yes, they are. They're a huge threat to the automotive industry, because it means that people don't drive. They need people to drive to burn oil. As things go, I mean, everything goes green and we get electric cars that are powered by renewable energy, solar panels on people's roofs and wind turbines in the North Sea, then it's going to be less of an issue. But still, it's the upkeep of the roads. And people complain about all the potholes out there. It's because your cars are getting huge. It's because they're fucking massive cars. I think in 2010, something like only 12% of cars on the road in Britain were SUVs. Now 60% of cars on the road are SUVs. You don't really get much choice in it. And it's not like there's that much more room inside, which is really weird. But there you go. Colin Baker, am I right in saying that ICE detained entry to a Somali man who was hoping to be the first person from Somalia to referee in the World Cup? It wasn't just any old Somali man. It was an official FIFA World Cup referee, and he was denied entry to the US because he was from Somalia. Yep, so that happened. MAGA identity is they are right about everything, even that involves two mutually exclusive things, says Ernie. Yeah. They cheered me and everything. It was amazing. Now they booed you. Talking about Trump there. MSG, the featured at the start of Highlander fight at the car park. Yes, it's so 80s, isn't it? Let's have a fight in a fucking car park. Disgusting, concrete, piss-soaked, multi-story car park. They genuinely are the grimmest places on earth. But yeah, the Best of 9 is my favourite liberated Borg drone. Best of 9. Colin says, I just found an unbroken custard cream in a broken biscuits assortment. Does this constitute a miracle? Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. My neighbour used to work at Jacobs on Long Lane when I was a kid, and they'll come home with literally a clear plastic bag, bin bag, like a clear plastic bin bag filled with Trios and I forgot what else what Jacobs used to make, but yeah, chocky bars, because they were all like, ones that didn't quite fit in the manufacturing standards, and yeah, we'd often just go to the neighbour's house and just start scoffing all these broken biscuits. It was a glorious time. It was a glorious time. They do a solar panel poll tax at some point. God, imagine. Hammersmith flyover, and I saw you can't miss when you go to the Apollo. Yeah, and if you go over the Hammersmith flyover, I believe there's, if I can remember rightly, there's like an old home. Like there's an old, I think it's I don't know if it's like English Heritage or National Trust or something, but there's an old house, and it's in this crisscross of disgusting flyovers. I mean, I would get rid of all flyovers. I would bring a countrywide moratorium on flyovers. I fucking hate them. this is one of the things where we have this kind of weird relationship where with our public transport, where we're like, no, I don't want to see it. You've got to bury those trains underground, and it's like, well, can we bury the cars underground? They've done this in Spain, you know. A lot of roads have actually been covered over with parks and trees and stuff. So the cars drive through a tunnel and you're over the top of the cars. In Liverpool city centre, in the last sort of 15 years, when they made the Liverpool One um, development. Now, the architecture is one thing. I'm not particularly keen on that. But one thing that I really like that they did was they built up Gervais Park. So it's now like a hill. It wasn't a hill before, it was flat. And they've hidden the car park under the park. So when you drive into the Queen's Square car park, or whatever it's called, Queen's Square, whatever it's called, when you drive into the Liverpool One car park, you're actually underground in under a park, and I'm like, that's the way to fucking do it. I wish we would do that with Mount Pleasant. Just dump a load of soil on top of it, put some trees there, make it actually pleasant, or just knock it down entirely. And I see this when we get self-driving cars. Are we going to need? Here's a question for you. We get self-driving cars, right? Imagine, and then we drive ourselves to town, right? Are you going to pay for parking in town? No, you're going to send your car home. Self-driving, innit? Press the button, go home. Goes along the road, goes home. Finish your shopping, finish your coffee, press your button, the car comes to you. Out your own driveway, out your own parking space outside your house. Yeah, you didn't think of that, did you? No, you only think of yourself. But then there's going to be more problem with congestion, because what a lot of people are going to do who maybe live too far away, don't want to do that, or only in town for an hour, and it's not worth sending the car all the way home, they're going to get the car to drive around the city, aren't they? Just keep driving in circles. Now, if you had one person doing that, might not be an issue. You have 100 people, a bit of an issue. You have 1,000 people doing that all at the same time. Ooh, yeah, now you got to now think about how many people in town, how many people get there in the car. There's big problems coming with automation that no one's really talking about, when we should really be talking about this stuff. We should really be talking about this stuff. I started to look for EVs who could potentially tow a drift car, and my options aren't too plenty. Gervais Park used to be hidden by the bus terminal. Gervais Park, you know, we had the Moat House on one side of it. We had the fucking disgusting Paradise Street car park and bus station on another side of it. And it was just a bloody wasteland. Do you remember I think the path through it used to just be a memory path. Like it was just a bit of hard, compacted mud that you used to walk across to get to the Albert Dock. Absolutely. And then you got a motorway. If you don't know Liverpool's setup, geography, then, you know, stay with me on this. If you've ever been to a British seaside town, you know the way they have the beach and then they have a fucking motorway, and then they have all the arcades and the shops and everything on the other side of the fucking motorway. So if you've ever been to like Blackpool or Scarborough, you know this typical setup. Land did know, Clan did know. Same thing, right? They have a fucking fast road. You got the beach, and then you've got to cross a main road in order to get to any of the other attractions or anything like that, right? And Liverpool's got the same sort of thing where you have to cross. And I will, you know, if it was just a road, if it was just like in Lambeth, no, where it's just one road, you know, one way, and you know, just a 2-lane road, then okay, it's a bit shit. You know, I'd rather it was all pedestrianised and you had to go round if you're a car. No, fuck off. You're sitting down and you're comfortable. It's what I hate about cars, right? As a pedestrian, if it is cold, if it is raining, if it is sleet, if it is baking fucking heat, you are uncomfortable out on the streets, especially on streets where there's no fucking trees because they got rid of them all, right? Right? You with me on this? Right? Being a pedestrian can be uncomfortable. On top of that, you might have a sore leg or something, right? So walking around, not something that you particularly want to do too much of. Meanwhile, these fuckers in their cars, sitting down like I am here, sitting down in a car, nice and warm, you know, 15 degrees. They're wearing a fleece, it's okay. It's the middle of summer. But hey, keep an eye on that AMOC. Don't want the day after tomorrow happening here with the big freeze. It's coming. You just wait. Anyway, so you're sitting there going, I'm in my car, like this, and you have to stop your car. What are you bothered? If you have to stop when you walk and you're standing up, It's not as easy. The car drivers are literally fucking sitting down, right? Make them go round. Make them go round the fucking Great Orme. I don't give a fuck. Make them wait in a traffic queue for 45 minutes rather than hold me up for 1 minute as a pedestrian trying to cross over to the shops. But we have this same thing in Liverpool. So if it was just like one lane going one way and one lane going another way, like in Llandudno, it would be bad, but, you know, whatever. In Liverpool, it is a six-lane motorway between the amenities of Liverpool One and the city centre and the Albert Dock and the Echo Arena and the Liverpool Liver building. It's a 6-lane fucking motorway, which has traffic lights every few meters. It's the most ridiculous road in the world. Get rid of it. Just absolutely get rid of it. Either put it underground in a tunnel, you know. I don't know how it would work with the Mersey tunnel, because I suppose it could dive under the Mersey tunnel. No, it wouldn't be able to do that. But get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Make the cars go round. It's fine. You know what? If you're in the north of the Liverpool city centre, right, just go round. Just go round. You can't cut through the middle. But because of this road, if you are in the south of Liverpool city centre and you want to get to the north of Liverpool city centre, the quickest way, the shortest way anyway, is to go through this crowds of people who are trying to get from the city centre over to the Albert Dock. And it's like, who comes up with this shit? It should just be like a cobbled street, just a one-way cobbled street with speed bumps every 2 seconds. That's what it should be like. I just hate the way that we designed the world. In the 20th century, so much stuff was designed for the car. For the ergonomics, the desires, the wants, the needs, the sexual proclivity of cars. Not for humans. Not to facilitate humans walking anywhere, but for fucking cars. Buildings were made for cars. In Liverpool, we had this absolutely dick-headed plan called the City in the Sky. I think it was called like the City in the Sky or something. And the plan was this: the cars would live on the ground, right? So all the ground things were the cars, okay? And then the humans would live on the first floor. They would live above the ground floor. So the cars buzzing around. So you would have to walk over bridges, and there would be a bridge that would go from the Mount Unpleasant car park, and then you could take the bridge over to the Adelphi Hotel, and then presumably walk through the Adelphi Hotel. I don't know how it's supposed to work. Over to Lewis's, and then you could go from Lewis's without touching the ground. You would never have to touch the ground. Fuck trees. Let's get rid of all the trees. We don't need any trees. We're going to have no trees anymore. We're just going to all walk in the sky. It was called the Fuck the Disabled plan. It was amazing. And the last vestiges of these fucking bridges, because they didn't want to stop the cars. It's very important that we don't stop the cars. We never, ever stop the cars. Why would you want cars to have to stop? And now we have ridiculous vestiges of this bullshit. There's the same thing in London. With the ringways plan, they were going to have a motorway going through the middle of London. They're going to tear down properties that have been up since the Elizabethan age. They're going to tear them down to build a fucking motorway because the cars must not stop. The cars may not stop. That's the rule of a motorway in the UK. You can't have filter lights on a motorway. You know, when someone's doing work and they need people to slow the fuck down, you can't have them. The cars must not stop. You must not stop. Nothing must impede the flow of traffic. And you're like, this is a mad way of doing it. So instead of having a turn off and then traffic lights or something, it's got to be this huge, massive junction which takes up acres and acres of green space. This is the thing, right? You know all these Tory twats and me fuckers who go, oh, don't want people moving on the green belt. What about these fucking motorways, mate? What about these motorways that you built on the fucking green belt with the massive fucking junctions? There's a junction that comes out of the Kingsway Tunnel. So there's 2 tunnels in Liverpool, right? There's the old one, the good one, the Queensway Tunnel that doesn't actually flood. That was built about 100 years ago. And it's a masterclass of Art Deco design, and it's got a little bit of Egyptology in it as well, because the at the time that was very fashionable, because the tomb of Tutankhamun had just been found, and it was a really, really, really well constructed tunnel, right? And then in the 1960s, they decided to make another one out of concrete, and it's shit and it leaks, and it's called the Kingsway Tunnel, right? And they wanted to make it part of the motorway network, so this was part of the motorway. So instead of having a tunnel where cars are, there's 2 lanes going that way and 2 lanes going that way in the same tunnel, like the old tunnel, the new tunnel would have one tube for one way of vehicles and then another tube for another way of vehicles. And the idea was you would come out, right? You would come out and then you would go around a big bend, right? And onto the other side of a massive motorway that was coming out of going into the city centre, right? Or you could go left and then join a slip road. And instead of just having a roundabout like they do at the end of the old tunnel, they thought, no, we're not going to have a roundabout. We're going to have this massive, and the whole area takes up like about 100 fucking acres of prime real estate. This is what they had to knock down Scotland Road for. You know, you ever hear old Scousers going about, I grew up on Scotty Road. Tom Baker, the Doctor Who, he grew up on Scotty Road, right? Famous Liverpool institution, Scotty Road. It was where working class Catholics grew up. And yeah, it was really famous. And they bulldozed it. They got rid of it. It doesn't really exist anymore because they needed to build this big circle, right, which goes like a mile round to get you onto the dual carriageway. Well, actually, it's not. It's not even a dual carriageway. It's a triple. It's a 6-lane highway. Whatever. It was going to be part of the motorways that blasted themselves right into the middle of Liverpool city centre. It's why the first junction of the M62 is actually junction 5, I think, because there were going to be 4 more junctions going right into the city centre. Anyway, so they've just wasted all this space. There's like a box in the middle of it where there's a factory or something, or a warehouse or something in the middle of this huge big load of wasteland, essentially. But that's about it. And you're looking at it going, what are you doing? Why does anyone need to get anywhere this fast? And the joke is, and here's the joke, right? You have to go at 30 miles an hour around the fucking bend. Which makes me go round the bend. Literally, 30 miles. Are you kidding me? What? You've built this hole, and it's like a big chunk they've obviously dug out because it's you know, the sides are very, very high because you're coming out of the tunnel and the sides are very high, and it's like, hell. And yeah, they must have the amount of oil they must have burnt making that thing, and then it's got concrete sides, you know, to hold all the soil back, and just concrete, which is a terrible, terrible material for building with and for damaging the environment. And it's just, oh, you absolute wankers. And they destroyed an entire community to do that. And they did the same in America, you know, the highways, the freeways that came into America, into the big cities. They always blasted their way through the black neighborhoods, didn't they? So not only are cars and motorways hateful towards the pedestrians in general and to the world and in terms of climate change, they're also really hateful towards ethnic minorities and you know, immigrant groups in a city. Because where's the area that's going to get blown up and destroyed and crushed under a flyover for these cars to go? Oh, it's going to be the poor neighborhoods, isn't it? Where they like to be the immigrant neighborhoods. Yeah. Okay, let's take them out. That will stop people driving their own car in the city and make everyone use Uber-based self-driving for that. Yep. It's only 6 lanes in one place. The rest of it's 4 lanes, says Martin Harrow. It's only 6 lanes for a bit. It was only a bit of murder. It was only, you know, I only killed 6 people. I mean, sometimes I only kill 4 people. Nah, it's unacceptable to have a motorway going through Disneyland. And you've got to think of it this way, right? You go to Alton Towers, you go to Disneyland, you park your fucking car, and you fucking walk. If you can't walk, you got a shop mobility scooter, that's fine. Get on your scooter. I don't care, right? But you park your car and you walk to the fucking Nemesis. You don't demand that you are able to drive all the way up to the Nemesis and stop. Back in the day, there might be just the slightest argument for being able to park outside Rapid and put a new flat pack wardrobe into your back of your car. Okay, fair enough, right? That doesn't happen anymore. Everyone gets everything delivered on Amazon. Most city centres are now turning into experience hubs where you go and do an escape room, or you go to a cafe, or you go to a club, or you go and watch some live music, or whatever. It's not, you know, you want to do some serious heavy duty shopping, you go to the out of town shopping precinct thing, you know, the Trafford Centre or whatever they call it, or Westfield in Australia. You know, we don't need cars like that coming right into the city centre. If you go, you don't need a car to drive you all the way to bloody Mickey's Magic Mountain. You just park your car in the car park and you walk. And the amount you have to walk in Alton Towers, it's a bit of a walk, isn't it? Isn't it? I know they've got a monorail in Alton Towers, but and the cable cars and stuff. But just having a ground-based transport system that gets you around the city, like the B network in Manchester has a free bus that you can get from Piccadilly Station to Victoria Station. It stops at 6 o'clock on Sundays for some stupid fucking reason. But just it's a good idea, and it's also stolen from somewhere else because Melbourne does that. They've got a tram that just does a loop around the city centre, and that's free, and other cities do similar things. But no, there should not be a massive fucking superhighway running 6-lane superhighway or 4 lanes in some places. There shouldn't be a superhighway running through the Liverpool city centre between the city, the Liverpool One, Chavez Park, and the Albert Dock. There just shouldn't. That shouldn't exist. Do you know what? Get rid of it all, right, and replace it with the overhead. Just have a little section of overhead railway, as it was. As a little tourist attraction. You can climb up there, and maybe you could get in the underground station at Dingle and get on the overhead. It's a weird thing. Liverpool's overhead railway used to terminate in an underground station because it used to blast its way into a cliff face in the south of Liverpool. But yeah, Birmingham City, you have the car in the 1970s now almost totally pedestrianised and it's walkable for the first time ever. Wonderful. Yeah, Shropshire Coast. Paris has done this. Liverpool has been brilliant for becoming pedestrianised. And I mean, I guess this is my last little bugbear that we do have this massive road that's blasted its way along Wapping, between the Liverpool shopping centre and the other amenities that we know and love, like the Live building and the Albert Dock and the Echo Arena, which is looks like a toilet from above, but whatever. We need Elon Musk's tunnels. Only joking. Yeah. Oh my God, have you seen that with the what's it called? The not the Hyperloop, but the Tesla tunnel in Las Vegas. Have you seen any videos of it? It's awful. It's just absolute shite. It's just Teslas in a tunnel. Even as a car enthusiast and motorsports nerd, I largely agree with you that cars in the city are crap. Yeah, they're shit. They shouldn't be there. Newcastle is fucking awful for cars. Like Newcastle, they fucked it up. There is a whole area to the north, sort of north of the river Tyne. There's a whole complex of bloody motorway shite and really, really high up. What they called motorway loops and things, and like the Mancunian Way in Manchester, it's too short, it's too fast, there's not enough runoff lanes and all that kind of stuff. And if you miss your runoff lane, you have to travel another mile in your car to get back to where you were meant to be because you missed your junction, which is ridiculous. I mean, like, all things being equal, you should be able to stop at a traffic light, and if you were supposed to turn left but you missed that turning, you should be able to stop at the next traffic lights and turn left there, or do a U-turn or something. It'll make things a lot more efficient if they slowed the fucking cars down. Just have roundabouts. Here in Durham, actually, I do have to give them some credit that they do have roundabouts. A lot of roundabouts. But in the city centre, there is a road, an old medieval street that is about the width of an SUV in places. And they have cars trundling up and down it. It's like cobbled. They have cars trundling up and down it all fucking day. And you've got to pay like £10, and all these, because the people say, I've got to get to my accommodation. I've got to get to my accommodation at the top of the hill. I live in the castle. If you're a student here and you're very rich, you can live in a castle. Did you know that? You can. It's part of the university. The castle in Durham is part of the university. So university accommodation. Anyway, so these rich twats. No, you can go up right until 8 o'clock in the morning, right, and then you can't go up until midnight. That's it. You got that time between 8 and midnight, between midnight and 8 o'clock, and you can drive up the fucking road, Silver Street, into, up to the cathedral, up to the castle at the top. Because otherwise, you're driving along a medieval street that's full of tourists, absolutely packed, who have to then press their backs against the wall of the street, of the shops and the pubs and the restaurants. You have to press your back up against it in order to let the cars go through. Absolutely ridiculous. Prioritising the cars all the time. And don't forget, the Tories have always been car fuckers, but these refuckers are car fuckers as well. They are mental cow. They love to shag the flags and fuck their cars. And you know the type. They will never. It's like, one of the big things for refuck when it was trying to run in Wales was, we're going to stop this 20 mile an hour law. 20 mile an hour, that's saved the lives of hundreds of people already. And you know what? Saving the lives of young people actually saves the economy a lot of money. Because when you're a kid, you're not making any money. You're in deficit, as far as your contribution to society in terms of taxation or whatever. You're in deficit until you're in your 20s. So if you take someone out who's that young, then society ends up paying the price for it. Because you've invested all that money, if you want to be harsh about it, money in somebody, in a human being, and then there's been no return on them at all. So I don't understand why these fuckers think that it's okay to put children's lives in danger, but they just do. I have a song listened to XTC called Rivers of Orchids. You might appreciate it, I think, Graham. I like STC. And then I'll be driving down the Strand, the road Graham hates, in an hour just to get to James Street. Yeah, you should go all the way around, mate. You should go all the way around. That's what you want. You to go around the back of the new hospital. Go low hill, right round there, right. Go to Low Hill, and then come down Low Hill, and then at the roundabout, where the tunnel is, the old tunnel is. Go round all the way around the roundabout. Don't go in the tunnel. Don't make that mistake. And then take a left, right? Go past the Ship and Mitre, down Dale Street, all the way to the end. Yeah, turn left and then left again. Brilliant. In fact, don't even get to the end. Don't even get to the Strand. Just it's Wapping at that. No, it's the Strand at that point. You're right. Just there you go, mate. You're there. You're sorted. Why do you need to drive to a train station? All residential streets in Liverpool are 20 miles an hour. It's made no difference to journey times. Yeah, Martin Harrow. You're absolutely right. And this is something that we have learnt firsthand. All of us who have used Google Maps or TomTom Go back in the day have learned over the last God knows how many years of having these apps. They tell you what time you're expected to arrive. And you're on the motorway doing 70 miles an hour. And this is the time. And it's like 3:15. And you go, ooh, maybe if I speed up, I could get there a bit faster. And so you drive all the way at 80 miles an hour. And then you arrive at 3:14. It's like there's some weird algorithmic weirdness going on there. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't matter how fast you go on a motorway, you don't actually seem to get to your destination demonstrably faster. It's pretty much what it says the estimated time is going to be at the start of your journey. Because once you get off the motorway, obviously you get caught at traffic lights, and that's a bit of a lottery. It depends on all the cars that are there. It's completely pointless speeding. It's completely pointless. You don't get anywhere any faster. Just trundle along, and then if you hit a kid, they've got a 19 out of 20 chance of surviving. I haven't got time for that. I ain't got time for that. Must be the trans agenda. Yeah, it works out how fast you're going and estimates it based on that. I'm picking up Jenny from the station to go meet my ex, who used to be her mate. Okay, fair enough. So you're not getting on the train, because that would make... Yeah. I was like, don't park at St. James's. Funny, in Liverpool, there's an old railway station that they're going to reopen. It's going to be called the Baltic when it reopens, or the Baltic Triangle when it reopens. But it used to be called St. James's Station. So we had James Street, which was James ST on the map. And we had St. James, which was ST James on the map. Yeah. St. Stephen's Street Station. You need to go so much faster, says Bard. Yes, that's the problem. We're not breaking the law enough. But this is another thing, like cars that can go at 160 miles an hour. What's the fucking point? Like if you're buying a racing car to literally race on a private racetrack, then fine, let it go at 160 miles an hour. But why are cars that are on the normal city streets capable of doing those speeds? Like what? And the car companies brag about it. It's like, oh, this car can get up to 160 miles an hour. I'm like, when are you ever going to do that? Within the confines of the law? Are you planning to go off to the Nürburgring for the weekend and then give it a blast around? I mean, maybe on the autobahns in Germany where there's no speed limit. Okay, fine, show off your McLaren F1. But everyone else is like, what? And I'm sorry. I know this is probably going to upset some car owners because, I like doing that. But I think cars should be capped. I think that should be it. You literally can't go faster than the speed limit in a particular area. The only thing I'll say to that is it should be capped at 70. Right, so in any area, because sometimes with got your active control on your car, whatever it's called, your cruise active cruise ACC active cruise control, it will think that you are on the slip road of a motorway while you're on the motorway and slam on the fucking brakes on a motorway. So you're trundling along at 70 miles an hour, and then suddenly, whoa, what the fuck? And it's your car going, oh, you got to slow down. We're on a 30-mile-an-hour road now. And it's because the GPS has decided that you've drifted. So you're on a residential street, sort of like 100 meters away. I'm not on that shit. Anyway, but every car should have a black box, like the swearing thing in Demolition Man. Well, yeah. I once did Glasgow to Leicester in 4 hours, 77 miles an hour average speed. Might technically be legal. I don't think it would be if your average mile an hour was more than the speed limit. Dart 4x4. 160 mile an hour car, about 60 grand. Honda Blackbird, 170 mile an hour, about 1,500 quid. We need Johnny Cab. Was that Total Recall, Johnny Cab? What's your Whittaker's favourite chocolate flavour? I don't think I've ever had Whittaker's. 6 lanes because of filter lanes, says Martin Howard. 6 lanes because of fucking concrete and oil. You know, we got to spread this oil. Got to spread this tarmac on the ground. Yeah. I hate it. That's just disgusting. We just cover the entire Earth's surface with fake rock concrete. This like, mash. It's like smash. It's like smash mashed potato, but it's what we use to build stuff. And concrete and tarmac. It's the gloopiest, most disgusting fucking version of oil that we have, the thickest version of oil, and then we spread it all over the ground and go, lovely. Grubby, oily bastards. They will stop people driving their own car in the city and make everyone use Uber. Oh, I've read that one. Dementia maxing Trump at Meet the Press interview in Wisconsin, still being held up by Refuck as a hero. Yeah. People moan around here about potholes and tractors, but they are very effective traffic calming measures to slow down the stupid. Yeah, they are. That's very true. But yeah, I mean, road rage is a thing, right? And a lot of people get very het up when they're driving because for a lot of people, it's the only thing they feel good at, and everyone thinks they're the best driver in the world. Everyone gets behind the wheel of a car and they think that Nigel Mansell or something. They think, oh, I'm really fucking good at this. I'm really great at this. And the reality is, most of us are all right at it. We may have been driving for a long time and not managed to hit anything else. But I mean, the reality is, it's not that difficult. But people take a huge source of pride in being able to drive, or this whole thing of like razzing up to the lights and then slamming on at the last minute and not hitting the car in front of you. Yeah, fucking hell, I know how to drive. But people take it as part of their identity. And when you say maybe we should bring in some traffic calming measures, they feel like their personal identity is under attack. In the same way that the Brexiters were very successful in making this argument that being part of Europe made us less British. And for some people, that's all their identity is wrapped up in. It's like their Britishness, the fact that they popped out their mum here on this rock in the North Atlantic. I mean, instead of on another rock in the North Atlantic or in another continent and another part of the planet. They came out here. Ta-da! And you see this time and time again. You see it with cars. You also see it with meat. People who go bang on about the fact that they eat meat. I mean, it was annoying enough having to deal with vegans telling you, how do you know someone's a vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. And now we've got to deal with meat eaters doing the same thing, like bragging about the fact that they only eat meat. I'm on my paleo diet, I only eat meat. And you're like, really? And they think that the vegetarians are going to come and take their meat away from them. They're not. You can have an option. It's okay. Back in the day, there were no options for vegetarians. Now there's options for them. Doesn't mean there aren't any more hamburgers. A vegan sausage roll from Greg's doesn't mean that you can't get a steak bake from Greg's. You absolutely can still get a steak bake from Greg's. Or a meat sausage roll. You can do that. It's fine. It's just an option there for the people who don't want to eat meat. Oh, I'm not having that. Fucking hell. Trying to shove their tofu eating Mokarati agenda down my throat. And it's like, these people just don't want anyone else to have a choice. If it's something they don't like, they don't think it should exist. I was talking about this the other day about like movies and music and stuff that you don't like. There's 2 types of music in the world. There's 2 genres of music. There's the stuff you like and the stuff you don't like. And that is it. But to say that no one should be allowed to listen to other music is one thing. I would make a small stipulation on this. No one can force me to watch a movie that I don't like. No one can force me to go to an art gallery and go and look at paintings by people that I don't like, or artists that I don't like. I don't have to do that, right? I don't have to watch a TV show that I don't like. I don't have to watch Mrs. Brown's Boys, right? And I don't, because I don't like it. I do have to listen to music that I fucking hate all the fucking time. Because whenever I go out, some twat's playing music either in the, on their phone or in their ears, and I can hear it. Or you go into a supermarket and they're playing some, that fucking song by the New Radicals. God, I hate that song. And it'll stick in your head for the rest of the day. And the only way to stop the noise is to literally take a drill to your head. No, I'm not going to do that. But I really hate the way that my personal space is interfered with by people's fucking music, shit music. And you notice that people who play music loud on their phone, on a bus or on the train or something, it's never good, is it? It's never good music. It's never the genre. It's never the genre. Good music or music that you like. It's always shite. It's always absolute fucking garbage. But yeah, forced to having to listen to other people's music, and that's something that I do when I'm crossing this is very effective on a zebra crossing. If you're crossing out and you notice that there's someone who's got the stereo turned up all the way, deafening, like literally they're injuring their ears, but deafening loud, out their car, just absolutely blasting because they're dead excited about the fact that they've got a radio in the car. It's a new technology. It'll blow your fucking mind. They can actually play their own tunes in the car while they're driving. So they spend loads of money in getting these big massive speakers to blast it into their ears to cause themselves ear damage. But we have to listen to it as well, and you can hear the from the bass from like miles around. It's scaring fucking whales in the ocean, thousands of miles away. So if I'm walking across a zebra crossing and there's a car there stopped and it's playing music, I start to dance to their music, because that's what they want, isn't it? Aren't they playing music so that everyone else goes, "Whoa, that's really great music. That makes me want to dance." I mean, the music genuinely makes me want to kill people, but I mean, in their mind, I'm just doing what they. And then they get all angry and start beeping the horn, but I can't hear the horn because the music's too loud, and I'm like, I'm doing what you want me to do. I'm dancing. You do that when you're on the train as well. If someone's got playing music on their phone, like they've got the phone down on the table, and they're playing music, go and stand next to them and dance. Really shitly. Or even better, when you're on the train and someone's sitting there and they've got the car in front, they've got their phone in front of them, and you're sitting like opposite, and they're having a conversation like this. Hello, and then you can hear the person on the voice. Jump into the conversation. Just go, hello. And the person on. It's usually a guy, isn't it? The guy will go, "Excuse me, who's that?" Says the people. "Oh, it's just some guy on the train. How you doing? Who's that? What's?" And it's really funny. Well, I think it's really funny anyway. Just jump into the conversation. Oh, well, if you don't want me involved, right, put it to your ear so I hear your fucking conversation, all right? Twat. Anyway, Saz, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Woohoo! Thank you very, very much. Gallifreyan Ren says, "But that's the first super chat of the morning. Thank you very much. That's £2 an hour. That's not bad, is it? That's a good bang for your buck, isn't it? Bloody hell. I wish, if imagine Nigel Farage was this cheap. Gallifreyan Ren, but Graham, the woke blob is going to take our meat and Bibles away. They want to worship evolution and eat vegetables and force us to be trans. Yeah, take the option away. Well, I mean, that's the whole anti-gay thing, wasn't it? It was like taking the option away. People shouldn't be allowed to get married to, if they're a man, they can't marry a man. Why not? Well, because then, it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Yeah. Funny you should say that, because it's Lot and his daughters, not Lot and his sons. Yeah, that's a pretty fucked up bit of the Bible, isn't it? Yeah, where Lot's daughters get him drunk and rape him so they can get pregnant to their dad. Yeah, that happens in the Bible. So, all bets are off as well. Oh, God, he's so ugly. Trump. 101, definitely, as a lifelong veggie, allergy reasons, the veggie option always goes first. Like, what am I supposed to eat now? You selfish idiots. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Martin, like, so you'll know if you've been around. I don't know how old you are, but when I was in university, my girlfriend was vegetarian, and we'd go out to a restaurant and or go traveling. We were traveling in Spain. God, it was hard to get food. Fuck me, it was so hard to get food. I told the story before, I think, Martin, but it was omelets everywhere, everywhere. The only thing on the menu was omelets. That was the only thing that she could eat because she wasn't a vegan. If she was a vegan, she would have just had to starve. But I remember one time we were in Spain, we were in Madrid, and she ordered a salad. She ordered a salad, and I had to specifically say in Spanish, "No carne, por favor," like no meat, please. No carne, no carne. Turns up, doesn't it? And it's got these little cubes of sort of pinky grey stuff in it. And Michelle looks at this, she's like, "Graham, is this meat?" And I reach over and go, "Yeah, that's ham." And not only was she Jewish, not only was she veggie, she was also Jewish. So like, no ham. Like seriously, no ham. You can have no ham in me fucking salad. So he brought the guy over, and I was like, "I thought you said there was no meat in this, no carne." He said, "Oh, solo poco carne, like just a little poco carne, just a little meat in the salad that you're expecting no meat in." The concept of not having meat in food was bananas. Nowadays, when you go to Spain or you go to Italy or France, there are vegetarian options. It's a lot better. But 25 years ago, it's a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Viper Scott, £2. Yes! £4 an hour. Thank you very much to Viper Scott there for Dizz's Confetti Fix. That is very kind of you. Plant-based ham tastes better than real ham, says Peter Paints-a-Lot. Ooh, don't know. It depends which one. I think there's some products that are just like, what even is this? Try being gluten and lactose intolerant. I think I'm supposed to photosynthesize while out and about. Yeah. I'm sorry that you're lactose and gluten intolerant. Bloody hell, Gallifreyan, man. That's a double barrel load of bollocks, isn't it? I'm sorry. That really sucks. But I mean, to be fair, there are more gluten-free options available now than there used to be. Like 20 years ago, there wasn't any, and now there are some. And when you go to the supermarket, look on the bright side. All your stuff is just in one part of the supermarket. It's all there together in that little section of gluten-free stuff. So you have to walk around the whole supermarket. Okay, it costs like 7 times more than the rest of the food in the supermarket, but little wins. Little Gallifreyan men sitting there going, "Fuck off, Graham." Sorry. Let's get Graham up to the minimum wage, says Martin Harrow. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for the £2 super chat. That means I'm on now £6 an hour. Almost getting to minimum wage. Bright side, I eat better than ever and well aware of my passion for making nice things. Yeah. And Gallifreyan, do you know what an interesting thing is as well? Right. There's a lot of people who see food as fuel. And I don't want to diss those people because some people who do that may be watching it. But, it's like meeting someone who doesn't listen to music or has never seen a movie or never laid down on the grass and looked up at the sky. It's just like, why are you alive? What do you do? What is your life? I mean, you see food as fuel? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And if you do, look, it's your deal, and I'm not going to diss it. I just think it just really upsets me. It just like genuinely upsets me. I see food as a joy in life, up there with the real fucking joys of life, friendship and alcohol and sex and drugs, rock and roll. I don't do drugs, but rock and roll. Going to a gig. And the food is amazing. I hate. I mean, now and again, we'll have to just put some protein in my face, but it is just when I'm in a hurry. If I've got the time, please feed me some delicious, delicious food. Viper Scott, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Talking about hamburger, the screw worm has got into the USA thanks to Trump cuts. So $18 burger will shoot up in price. Graham, yes. Thanks very much, Viper Scott, for the £5 super chat, which means I'm now on £11 an hour. Well, I'm a bit over an hour, but that's all right. That's okay. And that's a good segue into Ren's meat trolling, doing a pork roast with spuds, veg, and homemade Onion gravy. Ooh. How do you make your gravy, Gallifreyan man? Because I use my mum's recipe, which is you cook the meat, and then you get the juices from the meat, and then you boil the veggies, and then you got the water from the veggies, and then I put the oh, it's gonna have to wait because Viper Scott has put £10 in the chat. Confetti time, and just to hit minimum wage, Graham. Thank you so much, Viper Scott. That's very kind of you. That means I can go 3, 2, 1. Confetti! Woo! Yeah, we did it. We did it. Woohoo! £21 an hour. Look at that. Nice. Thanks, Viper Scott. I will spend that money on sensible things like crack, prostitutes, good times, Johnny Walker Black Label. Yeah, thank you very much, Viper Scott. That's very, very, very kind of you. I'll do another one. I'll do another one for Boba Fett, and then we'll talk about gravy. Hang on. We need to talk about Davy Ravy Gravy. Okay, so okay, Boba Fetty, yay. Okay, so gravy, right? So you cook your meat, right, and then it's all in the juices, and then you take the meat out of the tray, the metal tray that you've had in the oven, the roasting dish, and then you put that, you cover it in foil, maybe put it in the microwave. Don't like turn the microwave on because it's covered in foil, but just cover it in foil, and it will keep cooking. It'll keep cooking on a plate or something. So just leave it there to continue to cook, and for the meat to get really, really juicy and nice, and then get the juices from whatever it is, chicken or pork or beef or whatever, and then you get some flour. Get some flour, and then put the flour in, just about a handful. Get all over your hands. Just pour some flour in, and then back of a fork, I think it works best, and then mix that all in so it turns into like this kind of quite thick, and overheat. So put that on the hot plate, and then heat it up so the oil is nice and hot and the juices are nice and hot, and then a bit of flour, thicken it up nice and thick, right? And then a couple of OXO cubes, right? Always 2. I never put 1 OXO cube in. It's always got to be 2 for me. Break them up. Don't like Knorr because it's kind of like soft and squishy on your fingers. It's not nice. I like OXO because it's dry and you just crush it. And then you get the water that you cooked, that you boiled the veggies in, and you pour that in, and then you slowly, just little bits, work it all in. Nice smooth gravy, no lumps in it, just nice smooth gravy. Just low heat on the oh, beautiful. Bit of salt, bit of pepper. Happy to keep tasting it. Get a little spoon on the edge. Great stuff, great days. If you want to make a good vegetarian gravy, right? Keep all your peelings. Like, wash your vegetables before you peel them, right? Keep all your peelings, and then boil them, and then use in a little bit of water, boil the crap out of them, and then you can use that as your stock. It's a really good way of making stock for vegetarian gravy. Little top tip there. Because Bisto will have me sat on the toilet for weeks while my guts explode, that's why, and homemade is so much better. Yes, homemade is absolutely miles better than Bisto, I've got to say. Fry off an onion in butter, add flour for the rouse sauce, and then add red wine, Worcestershire sauce, beef stock, and mustard powder. I'm only cooking for me, so I use meat cuts, not enough juices. Okay, fair enough. That sounds really nice, though, Gallifreyan man. That, especially with the mustard bit of mustard powder. Yeah, especially if you have beef. Oh God, there's been a stabbing in Belfast. Big fucking shit, isn't it? Okay, so now that we have achieved what we need to achieve. Oh, new channel, Cooking with Graham Hughes. Oh, I'd love that. I'd love to do some cooking. That'd be great. It'd be so much fun. Like, I didn't think I did that during lockdown. There was like a cooking thing that I took part in. During lockdown, where it's like set up a camera in the kitchen, and I think I cooked some scouse. I can't remember. But yeah, that was really good. Yeah. Oh, by the way, bit of news for my tiny little tiny slither of news about my Guinness World Record attempt. The um, they've updated my account now so that I can actually submit the evidence of my 65 and a half hour live stream. Mm. So I'll be submitting that after the show. Before I do Grain Rights and Wrongs, which I'll be doing at 1 o'clock today, if you want to join me for that, we'll be blasting on to chapter 6. I felt like chapter 5, I went to Israel, and I sort of, you didn't see it, but like in my original writings, there was a big political thing about Israel and, you know, the crimes it's committed, but also the fact that Israel deserves to be registered as a state, and stuff that I've said before about Pakistan and the fact that Pakistan was made a state around the same time. And I was just like, I don't want to get bogged down in this. I just want to talk about my experiences, the people I met, and that kind of thing. So I've kind of sacked that off. There is a big part of me, and you know, the people who watch me when I'm doing the writing, that just thinks I should rewrite that book and just make it a diary, you know, diary entries, because that's what Michael Palin does in his books. That's what Carl Bushby does in his book, Giant Steps. Carl Bushby. Yeah, Carl Bushby. No, these. This is the book. I got this in like 2006, 2007. So I've had this for 20 fucking years. This guy, right, is walking still from the bottom of South America, the very bottom of South America, all the way back to Hull. And he should be coming back to Hull this summer, I think. I don't know. I'll have to look up. But this is all written as diary entries. You see there, it's got the diary entries there, the dates, and you know, Michael Palin's. Oh, actually, no. I was going to say Michael Palin's other books, like Around the World in 80 Days. I think Pole to Pole was written as a diary, but this one, Sahara, is more written like my book. You know, it's written like it's got a chapter heading and it's got a thing about it. Doesn't actually have dates, I don't think. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna stick with this. Oh, by the way, just want to say, I do own some cool shit. Like I'm not big on sort of owning lots of things, but some of the stuff I've got is pretty cool. So I'm just going to show you this. If you can read that, it says, "To Graham, from one explorer to another, Michael Palin." How cool is that? How cool is that? Anyway, I'm going to take this to Hull when Carl finishes his journey, and I'm going to be, "Carl, can you sign me book?" Like a fangirl. No, actually, you know what's funny? Because I for some reason I thought the Sahara book, I thought it was written like a diary, because I know that Michael Palin's other books of his travels were written as diary entries, but it's not. So yeah, and it means rewriting the first book. So fuck that shit. Yeah, my original concept was just to write it as a story rather than as a series of diary entries. I love that Jamie Oliver said his mum's roast chicken was his favorite ever meal. Yeah, well, to be honest with you, my mum's roasts are the best in the world. If you're watching this, hi mum. But yeah, just absolutely fantastic, and that's where I learned to do roasts. And then when I lived in Panama, people would come to my island and demand roast. Well, they didn't demand roast, but like, you know, I had a little bit of notoriety for being a twat, but also for making really, really nice roast dinner. So if someone came out to my island in the tropics, we'll have ourselves a really nice roast chicken. I collect signed books, so I'm jealous, says Shropshire Chris. Oh, don't mean to make you jealous. Do you want one of my books? I can sign it for you. Man of the World, I'll sign it for you. Everyone likes their mum's gravy. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? I was watching a thing about Anthony Bourdain, who I loved, and unfortunately he's not with us anymore. But he had the same sort of passion as me about travel and about eating street food and about food and how important it is to travel and all that kind of stuff. And he was interviewed and he was asked what foodie film was the best foodie film for getting the whole concept of being in love with food and getting all the ingredients right and everything. And he just goes, Ratatouille. Ratatouille, Pixar's Ratatouille. He just said, blows everything else out the water. It got everything right. Got absolutely everything right. My Brummie's ex roast was also pretty good, says Maggie Pie. Oh well. Oh well. Yeah, we need to split up, but can I keep the roasts? Just send one to me in the post. Won't be able to make one at 1 p.m. as I'm be relishing in my ex reeling for me turning up with her former best mate. Okay. Gallifreyan man. My gravy recipe is reverse engineered from how my mum did it, which in turn is based on my granddad's. It's one of the major milestones I wanted to master. Yeah, Gallifreyan man. I mean, making your own gravy is a fucking and making your own sort of like chili paste, not chili paste, curry paste. It is really fun. It's something I never did before, but when I got with Catherine, she was like, "No, don't get pataks, don't get the fucking jars. We'll make it from scratch." And I'm like, "Okay then." And it's fun. It's kind of fun. You get all the different spices, you throw them all together, and then you whip them up with the thing. Blender, whatever it's called. Yeah, it's fun. Anyway, listen, I'm going to go over to the papers now because I've talked enough about. God, we do go off on some tangents on this show, shouldn't we? We should change the name from Morning Brew to Graham's Random Tangents. Where have we gone to on this show? We started talking about Trump and all the times he said that he's going to end this conflict and he hasn't. Then we somehow got onto public transport. Then we got onto cars. Then we went on to fucking gravy. The recipe for gravy. Via Michael Palin in the Sahara. Who said Bisto is good and should they be banned from the chat? Listen, if you're in a pinch, Cuthbert, then get on the Bisto. But yeah, if you need to thicken up your gravy, bit of corn powder, well not corn powder, corn flour, just a couple of teaspoons of it in a cup, right? Cold water, do it up, and then slowly put the cold water in, and it'll thicken it up. But I don't like the way it thickens it up. I think the viscosity of it isn't quite nice as you do it if you start off with putting the flour in when it's still just the oils, when you're heating up the oils, and you put because that mixes very well. The flour mixes well. The flour does not mix very well with water. So once you've put if you're like, oh, I'll thicken this up by putting some flour into it, once you put the water in, you're in trouble there. Disaster. D-I-S-A-S-T-E-R. That could spell disaster. Okay, so we're going to go over to the papers now. And unfortunately, there's a really horrible story on all the papers, pretty much. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, I guess. I guess we have to mention it. So here we go. Is university a waste of money? Asked Daily Mail. Whatever. We shared a holiday villa with my best friend and the family and never spoke again. Yep, that sounds about right because you seem like a terrible person. Is university a waste of money? But West Ham co-owner accused of preying on a string of women. Predator. So the front cover of the Mirror here. West Ham chief accused. 7 William claim billionaire Sullivan preyed on them for sex. Former porn boss denies all allegations and threatens to sue. Ex-model, he told me I needed to be one of his special friends. West Ham co-owner David Sullivan is facing allegations he preyed on young women for sex when he was the boss of a porn empire. Absolutely disgraceful behavior. And, this isn't a Muslim grooming gang. This is a white guy, a very rich white guy, a rich old white guy who has loads of money and thinks that human beings are his property. West Ham only abused power to prey on women. Badenoch, I'll kick identity politics out of the public sector. Fuck off, Badenoch. You are fucking identity politics, you fucking knobhead. Then we've got British food scene was booming. Why has it suddenly gone bust? Because no one's got any fucking money. That's why. You've got no money. Because of the Tories and Brexit and the Tories and Trump and the war and the taxes and the fucking war and the Brexit and the austerity and the Trump mini budget, the Truss mini budget. That's where we got their money. Why is no one going to gigs anymore? Because they cost £57 fucking pound for a ticket to go and see some 2-bit band from Oklahoma, and fucking the bloody no one's earning that much, I don't earn £57 an hour. Wish I did. Yes, my right to live my best life is politics. Yeah, exactly. Gallifreyan man, it's politics. It's just a political football there for the rich landed elites to kick around at their will. Hey. Do you know what I was going to do for the show this morning? I was just going to rip into that dickhead. What's his name? Wes Streeting. Shut up, Wesley. Have you seen that article he did where he said that he fears that LGBT rights are being dialed back? Was that his expression name? Rolled back? Was that the... Really, Wesley? Really, Wesley? Let's get the quote. Because I don't want to misquote the dickhead. Let's have a go. Wes Streeting, LGBT rights towards the minimum wage goal. Thank you very much, Gillian Hope. That is very, 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 very kind of you. You may have a super chat. Yay! Pork markets, says Gallifreyan Man. The clock, that was it. The clock being... Wes Streeting fears clock being turned back on LGBT rights. LGBTQ progress, he's written. This is written here. Look, I'm not making this up. Wes Streeting fears clock being turned back on LGBTQ progress. The former health secretary stands by decisions on the provision of puberty blockers for young people, but says it was hard. The clock is being turned back. What can we do? Who turned back the clock, Wes? Well, I did grab hold of the clock and I did literally change the numbers on it so that it was an hour earlier. But despite the fact that I literally did that with my own hands, right? I did that. I turned that fucking clock back. I'm really scared about the clock being turned back. As if it wasn't him. As if he had nothing to do with it. That's just mind-blowing, isn't it? This is absolutely mind-blowing. Let's have a listen to what he has to say. Or let's have a look at what he's got to say. Speaking on LGBTQs, Lewis Goodall on Sunday, the former secretary said, rising hatred and prejudice in a range of forms in the country makes him fear the clock is being turned back. Who stoked the hatred? Who stoked the prejudice, Wesley? Wesley, hello? Who did that? Who was that? Who was the guy who was standing up there in Parliament saying that we had to stop trans kids getting hands on puberty blockers, even under a private prescription? Not cisgender kids. Very important to define this. Not cisgender. They can take it. It's not harmful to them. It won't make them go infertile. It won't make them go sterile. Not that it does, but if it did, it won't affect them in the same way. It affects trans kids. So what we need to do is we need to make trans kids go through the wrong puberty. Because then it's even more difficult to change things afterwards. But we have to do that. It's really important because we're protecting them. Protecting them from a lifetime of not being outed everywhere they go as a trans person. Yeah, that'd be the worst thing ever. Fucking arsehole. He said he was terrified because he grew up at a time when it was legal to discriminate against people for being gay in the provision of goods and services, and it was illegal to serve in the armed forces. I grew up actually at the time fearing, I knew I was gay, but I feared, would I be discriminated against? What would that be like? I don't know, Wes. Why don't you ask some of the trans community that you've helped to fucking persecute? Hey, why don't you ask them? Why don't you fucking ask them? Go on, ask them. Ask them how they're getting on. And now I'm seeing how a Labour government changed laws and hearts and minds to such an extent that it was a Conservative-led government with Labour votes, and with the Lib Dems in coalition that brought in equal marriage rights. I thought, we've done it, we've won. And now, with what's going on in this country, with rising hatred and prejudice in a range of forms, I do fear the clock being turned back. What an absolute shite of the gob. Anyway, let's get back to the papers because I'm just getting too angry about this stupid tit. We've got Zelensky takes aim at refucks UK mistake on Ukraine flag. Flags move is a kind of error that can break a big friendship, says leader. Well, you know how much refuck love the the Russians. You'll never guess. You'll never guess who is in Russia right now. Who is in Russia? Go on, have a guess. Who's in Russia? I want you to guess in the chat. Guess who is in Russia right now? Who is swanning around in Russia, in the Kremlin, having meetings with Steve Bannon and other Russian fucking oligarch scum. Anyone knows who's in Russia right now? Tell me in the chat. What a gobshite, says Diz. Yeah. Yes. Who is in Moscow right now? Was Wes happy for the trans community to stand alongside gay and lesbian people now that he has turned on trans people? Where's our backup Wes? Well, he's just a fucking knobhead. Is it a fagash Führer? Putin best count his pens before and after the visit. No, it's not Nigel Farage. It's not Andrew Tate. You're in the right ballpark. He is an absolute fucking gobshite. Nigel? No, not Nigel. Well, if Andrew Tate is there, he's not the one I'm thinking of. It's another absolute fuckball. Well, Putin's obviously there because he's Russian. He's the Russian president, I believe. No. Andrew Tate might be there. Steve Bannon's there, but I'm thinking of someone from Britain who has an Irish passport. No, not Musk. Although he might be there. I don't know. Muskrat, says Graham Heller. The chinless one, Tony Hart, morphs with a goatee. Tony Hart's morph with the goatee. I don't know who that is. Tice or 30p Lee. You're in the right ballpark, but no. See Dizzy Dizzle. Think of that, but shorter. 10 names. Yes. Well done, Diz. Yes. Tommy 10 names is in Moscow right now. Keeping the British end up, sir. What a piece of shit. What a genuinely fucking awful human being. Just like with Trump, just like with Farage and Netanyahu and Putin and Melee. These fuckers, their demise will make the world a better place. Imagine being that horrible. Imagine being such a horrible piece of shit that the loss of you will not be mourned. No one will cry. No one will be very upset. The world will party and the world will be a better place. Imagine that. Do you know what I mean? When people suffer from depression, one of the things that we need to talk about when people are suffering from mental health problems like that is the fact that they are wanted and valued and respected and loved. And they are, when it's your friends, when it's your family, when someone going through a hard time. And that reassurance is really important. You couldn't give that to Trump. You couldn't give that to Tommy 10 Names. I mean, or Farage. These horrible, horrible, horrible people who go out of their way to make other people's lives a misery for no reason other than their own grift. It's a way of making money. They can't actually do anything to make money, so they just grift. Supporting Ukraine's in Britain's interest, it absolutely is. Those people are poisonous mosquitoes. These people are the poisonous mosquitoes. Refuse to bite them. Tommy's in Russia. Shouldn't he be arrested as a risk to UK security? Yes. No wonder if Rowling's ever imagined being so reviled, people will celebrate her passing. Not that I'm saying I'll get some side of him for that hypothetical. Oh no, I will. I will absolutely. But people will dance on the street. That woman has done more damage to people's lives in this country, real people, than she ever delivered in Joy when Harry Potter was all the rage. She's undermined in the same way that you could be a fantastic children's author and you could do all these wonderful things, but then you just murder one person and it undermines everything. And just people remember you for that murder. That's essentially what J.K. Rowling has done. She has undone all the good work and all the good feeling that she created through the Harry Potter series. She's done away with it all. And now people with Harry Potter tattoos are trying to get rid of them. There was that thing a couple of years ago when they realised that more people like substantially more people were trying to get their Harry Potter tattoos removed than were detransitioning, which is what J.K. Rowling's really concerned about. Honest gov. I have a bottle of champagne waiting. Yeah, I think we all should. I think we should have like, bottles of champagne. And each one's got a different name on it. I think I'll do a video of this. I'll be like, this is for Nigel, this is for Donald, this is for JK, this is for Tommy 10 names. John Wayne Gacy used to do kids' parties, entertaining the kids. Yeah. Blah blah CW says you screw one goat. It's a famous joke. Anyway, so going back to the papers for one moment, for one glorious moment, we went back to the papers. Israel and Iran step back from full-blown conflict. We've got Kemi restore common sense to public services. When politicians start talking about common sense. Yeah. Don't make it James Bond woke, says Idris Elba. Okay. West Ham owner paid teens for sex and preyed upon women. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. He looks like the type. Probably a big donor to Tory party or refuck, I suppose. We'll have to find out about that. Suits you, sir, but Dapper Knight Idris reckons there's no chance he'll ever wear a 2007's tuxedo. Sorry, 2007's 007's. What a mistake at the maker. Lieutenant in Kinahan gang jailed for life. Judge trusted confidence of sinister, dangerous organization oversaw cruel, callous killing. A senior member of the Kinahan crime clan has been jailed for callous and cruel killing amongst a gangland feud. That's a bit not great, isn't it? A criminal gang of probably drug dealers. There you go. People need their drugs, don't they? The unlikely cult of Jay McDonald. The big kickoff World Cup sweepstake kit. Billions in aid. Cash handed to terrorists. Criminals, gangsters, and Russia benefited from £28 billion of misdirected taxpayer funds. Terrorists, hostile states, and gangsters have been given more than £28 million of taxpayers' money, including through aid payments, according to a secret government report. It's not that secret. The government can reveal details of a dossier that's showing that billions of pounds, blah, 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 demonstrates foreign aid, blah, 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 from 2015 to 2021. Okay, there it is in the third paragraph. In the fourth paragraph. Yeah, that happened under the Tories' watch. Well, does the Telegraph have room to say handed to terrorists by Tories? No, they can't say that. Stokes in another nightclub bust up. This is about Ben Stokes, who's a cricketer or something. Who represents the whole earth, apparently. I thought he played for England. Trump warns Starmer against social media ban. Go fuck yourself, Trump. You've got nothing to do with us. Crown Court judges given AI assistance. Right. South Bank boss in new anti-Semitism row. Police quiz Brown over Mandelson. Great white snapped off in Italian coast. Yeah, we've got some great white sharks now in the Mediterranean because of global climate change. Years of sex claims against West Ham chief. Taxpayer picks up bank's $36 billion debt bill. The Bank of England's decision to sell off UK debt has cost UK taxpayers $36 billion in just 4 years. Still cheaper than leaving the EU, which the Daily Telegraph wanted us to do. After UK spying fears, after secret camera found in Whitehall ceiling panel. The hidden device was discovered in a sensitive government building 2 months ago. Nice. BBC airs allegations against billionaire football boss. I've learned to parent like a cow. Okay. The Iran war is back on and Trump has no way out, which we're talking about a little bit about this morning. A fistful of stories and a few stories more. What? I wish you weren't here. Great white shark spotted in the Med. The picture that I used on the front cover of my, what's it called? My my thumbnail yesterday for Morning Brew is the guy looking at the rocket, with the hilarious caption, "You can't park there, mate." But they didn't use the hilarious caption, which they should have done. Fallen missile in the ground near Jericho in the West Bank, following overnight attacks on Israel. And then we've got the Financial Times, the FTSE. We've got is Trump wavering over defense of Taiwan? Wavering? I mean, he was never really up for it. Victorian novels hold clue to the future of AI. We've got Xi meets Kim in Pyongyang, and there's the ridiculous leader of the ridiculous flat-topped leader of North Korea. And then we've got Israel and Iran halt exchange of blows as US pushes to extend ceasefire deal. Unsold World Cup tickets risk leaving FIFA red-faced after own goal on prices. This is the story that there are almost 180,000 tickets still available to the World Cup. Usually the World Cup sells out months in advance. 180,000 tickets are still up for grabs. And they're the ones that haven't been bought by touts. Don't forget, the ticket touts have bought fuckloads of tickets. And although the football is something that you're not allowed to tout tickets for in this country, apparently you can tout tickets for them in America. So touts have bought loads of tickets and they're having to sell them at a loss because no fucker is buying them. I mean, I don't have it, I'd like to be proved wrong and at the end of this tournament and it goes off without a hitch and the football stadiums are full and Somalian referees are not turned away at the border. I'd like that. Yeah, I'd like that. Yeah, it's like that when everything takes itself seriously, like Batman. I keep saying it. If they're going to make some new James Bond content, set it in the 50s and 60s. Set it in the time that it was written. Like Mad Men. Do it as a pastiche of the past. And then we can laugh at the casual sexism, or at least be shocked at the casual sexism and racism, misogyny. The way that people were back then. The fact that every fucker smokes, or they used to smoke. And I used to have Ravenclaw on my dating profile. I can't stand Rowling. Yeah. Well, we had a clear out of mugs, and we had Ravenclaw mugs. Well, we had the Ravenclaw mug that one of Kat's daughters had, and she loved that mug. And now she's got rid of it. She's just thrown it out. Yeah. Andrew says, still a bit upset that my super descriptive nickname, Jacob Reese Fleece Smug, never became a popular synonym for that Tory crook. Jacob Fleece Smug, yeah, it's very good. Or make the rise of Bond founded Q Division in the 1930s. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Andy, right? You said it. Here's my idea. I'm sure Amazon are listening. Set it in the 1950s and 60s, and then you can do offshoots from it, right? Like they did Endeavour instead, Morse, whatever. So then you can have another spin-off series where someone else plays James Bond in the 30s and 40s fighting the Nazis as a young man in his 20s, right? And then you can do another one where he's an old man in his 80s, get Sir Ian McKellen to play him or something, and he's advising the spies of today. So it'll be a bit of a crossover with the Footy Red Line or whatever it was called. Line of Duty? No, not Line of Duty. What's that one with the red-haired kid? He runs around, gets it all wrong in the train station. No, in the airport. The one with fucking Dracula in it. You're all fucking useless. That one. That show. Slow Horses. That's the one. You're all fucking useless. Love that show. Make it a bit like that, and he can be like the older figure in it, just telling people what they need to do and stuff like that. So you've got like 3 distinct series of James Bond, of like 3 phases of his life that you could absolutely mine for gold. You have one set in the 30s, one set in the 50s, one set in the 80s or 90s. 60s, 70s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 80s, 90s. Why not? And you can have fun then with the gadgets, because the gadgets are pointless now. Everyone's got a mobile phone. Mobile phones do everything that a James Bond gadget used to do. Graham, do a screenplay writing stream, says Cuthbert. I'm going to, mate. I definitely plan to. Sorry, I'm eating pistachios. This is not a great breakfast, but there you go. I'm definitely going to do that. So one of the things about my writing my book is I'm a little bit like, should I really be writing this online? But I don't have to worry about someone stealing my idea and then fobbing it off as their own, because only I can write these books, right? It's not like they're going to make shitloads of money. It's not like, no one else is going to be able to sell the right to my story to a movie studio. I don't think. But when it comes to scripts, they are something that someone else could come and take off me, which worries me a bit because they're my ideas. But then there's some of my scripts that are based on real historical events. There's the so anyone could write them, really. There's one based on the story of Isabella Godin, the lost lady of the Amazon, who managed to make it through the Amazon rainforest for 3 weeks on her own. On the expedition, she went out with like 41 people, and she was like the sole survivor of this expedition. It's an amazing story. She was a landed lady, carried over the Andes in a sedan chair, and then they get down into the Amazon basin where she's looking for her long lost husband, and she hasn't seen for 20 years, and everything goes to shit, and she manages to survive on her own for 3 weeks in the jungle. Just an incredible story. So there's that, and also there's the Tsar and I, which is that's called the Amazon, by the way, for 2 reasons. And then there's the Tsar and I, which is based on Peter the Great's grand tour of Europe in the early 1700s. And it's told through the eyes of Franz Lefort, who was a Swiss diplomat in the court of Peter the Great. And it's not particularly historically accurate, but it's going to be a bit of a mad romp. I'm describing it as Withnail and I meets the King and I, but a bit more psychopathic, because Peter the Great was a fucking psychopath. It's called the Tsar and I. I'm sure I could write that as a thing. But after I've written my books, got to do my books first. I'm liking this. We're up to chapter 6 today. Chapter 6 of Man of the World. This is the chapter when I go to Syria and Lebanon, and I don't know if it'll still be in the same chapter, but the next chapter I'll be in Iraq, drunk, having a snowball fight in Iraq with an AK-47. I wasn't playing with the AK-47. There just was one there. I don't like screenplays that screenplays need special software. Yeah. I went for the final draft. I submitted one of my scripts, the Tallyman, which is about Liverpool in the 80s. The original script of which was written in 2004. So if it ever got made into a movie and everyone just points at me and goes, "You've ripped off Stranger Things," I'm like, no, I wrote this before Stranger Things was a thing. It's set in the 80s. It's kids going underground into the underworld to fight a monster who steals people's souls. But yeah, I sent that off to the final draft big break competition. It got into the top 50 in the world. I think it was top 50 in my category. I was like, fucking hell, that's pretty good. But it didn't get any further than that. But I thought the least they could do is give me a copy of Final Draft. If I give me a copy of your software, I feel that way about YouTube. Like I've over the lifetime of this channel, I've made tens of thousands of pounds for YouTube, because obviously every time someone watches an advert, someone watches any of my content, someone gives me some super chat, Google take a cut of that, and yet they don't give me the free ad-free thing, the Google Plus or whatever it's called. It's like, why don't you just give me that for free? As a bit of a thank you. Did I get a copy of Final Draft for free for being in the top 50? Nah. We want you to use Final Draft. And the thing is, a lot of these programs, they used to be, you just bought them. You bought Final Draft once, and then you could use the same program for the next 20 years, which I did. And then they decided to move it to a subscription model. And you're like, what? I don't need it. And now they've added AI to it, and it's just like, I don't want AI to help me write my scripts. But yeah. Thought it was just a format thing. It just, if you're writing, as I found, that if you're writing and you're using Final Draft, so for instance, when you're doing writing stuff on Final Draft, it is a lot easier. Because imagine you have a conversation running through your head of two characters, or maybe more characters. So you've got characters sitting around the table, and you're trying to hold in your head, and you're trying to get it out, you're trying to write it as quickly as possible so you don't lose it, the conversation as it happens. So you're writing as quickly as humanly possible. What you don't want to be doing is pressing tab, typing the name of the character, enter, tab, and then you've got, oh no, one too many tabs, go back a tab, go forward a tab, go back, and then you've got to do the next. And it's just an absolute fucking nightmare to try and format it yourself. So what a lot of these script writing programs will do is you'll be able to, instead of, you start writing the first two letters of the name of the character, so Frankie, FR, and then it knows it's the name of the character, so it automatically goes to the middle of the page, and then it comes up with Frankie in grey, and you just press enter, so it's there. And then underneath, and then instead of having to tab along, it just instantly puts the words in the right place. So yeah, and that's how it works. But yeah, I've been working on an IP called The Secret Life of David Niven. It's a war spy story where Niven and the Screen Actors Guild fight evil over the years. It's mad how film have the same ideas. That sounds absolutely fucking boss. I love David Niven. I'll be back in a moment. David Niven. If you want to read a really funny book about Hollywood, David Niven's The Moon's a Balloon is absolutely fucking brilliant. It is absolutely sound. Yeah, anyway, the reason I was saying like using, I use fade in software. It's a bit cheaper than Final Draft. But yeah, it helps. It helps. OMG. Look what I found. Look what I found in The Moon is the Balloon. I found my old Manchester University Film Society. Oh my God. Look, I haven't changed. That's my old Film Society card from 1999. Valid until the 30th of June, 1999. Whoa. That's fucking brilliant. There you go. A bit of a blast from the past for me. That's very cool. I'll go put that back in. That must have been my bookmark for Moon's a Balloon when I read it many years ago. I've read that. It's very funny. Very funny. He's got a sequel called Bring on the Empty Horses. I think it's called Bring on the Empty Horses. Yeah. It's reminiscences by David Niven. Yeah. This is the 18th impression, that one. I won't get much money for it. That's not signed, by the way. Sorry. Never signed it. Yeah, it's a great book, The Moon's a Balloon. We didn't have ID cards for university societies, says Diz. Well, because it was for the Film Society, it got you into the films for free. Otherwise, you had to pay. So they screened films like twice a week in the Manchester Debating Hall. I pay £45 a month for Illustrator. It's a robbery. Yeah, Maggie Pie. It is absolutely disgraceful. You look like Rolf Harris. Oh my God. No, take that back. Take that. Why Rolf fucking Harris? G'day, mate. I've got me face like at an angle because I'm like, oh, I'm funny, me. This is like Cuthbert. Saying I look like Rolf Harris. God. Do all people wearing Australian hats with a beard and glasses look? Little Wolfaroo. Yeah, The Secret Life of David Niven. That sounds like a good idea. I like that. Well, I told you my idea for doing HMS Apollo. It's going to be about the British moon landings of 1969. It's going to start off with Jimi Hendrix playing God Save the King on the electric guitar at the Woodstock Festival at the Isle of Wight in 1969, July 1969. And in the crowd is Neil Armstrong, played by Idris Elba, and Buzz Aldrin is going to be played by the guy from the Kumars at number 42, and then we're going to have the third member of the gang is Michelle Collins, who is a trans woman, and basically they find out they all work for MI6, and they find out that the British the the Vietnamese have stolen the British space rocket, and now the Norwegians are going to get to the moon first before the British, or they've got to go fight the Vietnam War, win it, and it turns out the big bad is Napoleon X of France, or Nappy X as he's known, who sits there stroking his big white cock. Buzz Aldrin dresses in cricketing whites and he has exploding cricket balls, and he hits them with his bat. Not this time, Nappy. And eventually they get the space rocket and they get to the moon. But the Norwegians have got there first, but the Norwegians' transponder's not working, so no one knows they're there. And like, that's very interesting. And then you have this shot of them putting down the British flag on the moon. And in the background, there's like 3 little graves of the Norwegian party. Anyway, so they get back, and then they do a big song and dance routine with the King of England, King Elvis I. And the Prime Minister, John F. Kennedy, he gives them all a medal, like at the end of Star Wars. It's going to be fucking great. HMS Apollo. It's going to be billed as just as historically accurate as U-571, Braveheart, and the Patriot put together. Sorry. God. Anyway, do you know what? I'm writing this stuff and people are like, you're just amusing yourself, Graham. And I'm like, yep, damn right I am. A trans woman in MI6, the Gam Gams would have a collective aneurysm. Yes, Gallifreyan Ren, that's the idea. We have a black man playing Neil. We have an Indian fella playing Buzz, and we have a woman playing Michelle Collins, or it was Michael Collins in the original. In the original story that the Americans tell us, this is what's really happened. It's not really happened. Oh, it's the king, they say at the end, and out comes Elvis. Oh. I love being the King of England. It's such a great place. And no one's heard of America in this whole movie. Like, no one's heard of America. It's just somewhere that people haven't heard of. Someone mentions it once and go, what, like Armenia? Is that like Armenia? Is that near Armenia? Talking of Armenia, they just had elections over the weekend, and they slung out the trash. They got rid of the pro-Russian gobshites, and now the pro-European people are in charge. Yeah, well done, Armenia. So it looks like Armenia is going to kick up its bid to join the European Union. I'd like to interview you for my Substack, talking about the pro-European movement in the UK and Brexit plus history. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm up for that. Ren, there are definitely trans in high-end MOD. Yeah, definitely. Andy says, I wonder if Kemi owns no mirrors, so she doesn't understand the rest of the fascist Satan. Yeah, true. Well, they do say Austria has a desk in the airport for confused Americans who think they went to Australia. The one that gets me is Slovakia and Slovenia. I mean, not only, right, are the countries' names almost identical. If you ever play a game where you've got to identify countries by their outlines, by their shapes, right, there's not much in it between Slovakia and Slovenia, right? And then the flags are the same colours in the same order. They just have different badges on it. If it's a mountain, then it's Slovenia. If it's a double cross, it's Slovakia. But like, and the embassies around the world have to have days when they change the swap mail, because all the mail keeps going to the wrong embassy. People write the embassy of Slovakia, you know, wherever, Nairobi, and it goes to the wrong. Absolutely. Like, can you make yourself sound a little bit different? That's something that you see a lot in movies, is that the characters always have very different names. And that's because if you're writing a movie script and you've got 2 characters who have exactly the same freaking name, it can drive you mad while you're trying to write it, when you're trying to follow the story and all that kind of stuff, because it's just extra faff that's going on. And this is one of the big problems they had with the Game of Thrones TV series, is that everyone was called Rob. You had King Robert, you had Robb Stark, you had Robbie Rinder, Robbie, I don't know. They had loads of people called Rob. And they actually changed some of the names of the characters so they weren't Robert, because too many people were called Robert, and they went, oh, it's going to be very confusing. And that's why he's known as Robb Stark and not Robert, because Robert was Baratheon. But in real life, you know loads of Daniels, you know loads of Johns, you know loads of, I don't know, Deborahs and stuff, you know, at least more than one. I got drunk and ended up in Swaziland instead of Switzerland. Well, Cuthbert, the good news is that it's now called Eswatini, so you're not going to get that. You're not going to make that mix up ever again. The names thing, it's why superheroes have weird rhyming names. Well, they do alliteration, don't they? With Clark Kent, Peter Parker, Bruce Banner. They like to have the alliterative names. And Rob the Builder. It is, isn't it? It is Rob the Builder. No, it is, isn't it? Was that the name? Was that the name of the person who built the wall? Was Robert Stark, wasn't it? I don't know. I can't remember. I just remember that there's loads of characters in Game of Thrones called Robert. Kemi Bad Enoch wants to be Tommy Robinson's black side chick. Yeah. Yeah. It is awful the way people who are members of minorities team up with the fash. Whether you're West Streeting, joining in with the transphobic bullshit. 9 articles a day in just 4 newspapers from 21 to 25, right? 2021 to 2025. 9 articles a day, 17,000 articles slagging off trans people. That's some weird fucking obsession. Someone's paying a lot of money for that. Yeah. No, but Rob the Builder, it wasn't. I know you make a joke about Bob the Builder, but it wasn't. But then you had like Eddard, didn't you? Have loads of Eddard Starks and Ed Starks and stuff. They found out who Batman is, a bloody billionaire. Oh God, it would be typical. So what? You're telling me this billionaire, instead of making things better in his city, he just goes around beating up low-level criminals? Instead of, I don't know, funding the police force to do it properly. Judge, jury, and executor of the will. Okay, so we've got a polling station here, sign saying political fissures to enliven electoral reform debate. And then we've got a picture of a guy in his dressing gown for Giorgio Armani. Nice. We've got a briefing here. Blackstone tries to lighten older buyout funds of $2 billion. That's in the briefing on the right here. Sorry, it's very low res. Starmer rallies the troops. The Premier has gathered dozens of junior ministers in Downing Street to try and persuade them to back him in a Labour leadership contest, insisting he can beat Andy Burnham. Takeover for Tate and Lyle. The FTSE 250 Ingredients Group agreed to be bought by a US rival to create a global business that'll lead to another Solwart exit from the London market. Woodford in FCA sites. Berlin clips fighter wings. Armenia's PM re-elected. Intesa and enters MPS fray. Russia link rattles Dublin. Ooh, going around rattling the Dublin there. Don't rattle the Dublin. You know that story about Tate and Lyle being taken over by an American company? Why didn't the government stop that? Because that's not going to be listed on the FTSE 250 now. It's not going to be listed on the London Stock Exchange. It's going to be listed in the New York Stock Exchange because it's going to have an American company. Why didn't we block it? We saw this happen with Roundtree getting taken over by Nestle back in the 80s. You saw this with Cadbury getting taken over by some big American bunch of dickheads like Americans know how to make chocolate. Just great. Just, yeah. In it, Graham, why run about fighting crime, feed the poor? Well, I don't mind him fighting crime, El. Why can't he fight the corrupt politicians rather than the hoodlums on the street who are just trying to make ends meet? I don't know. What I want to know, I want to know what it's like to want misogynistic and homophobic pickle as a bi woman. So I can say I think that Kemi would benefit from therapy. Yeah, I think she would. I think she absolutely would. I recommend never being an executive of someone's will. It is time consuming and you don't get paid for it and not have expenses refunded. Yeah, and it's not a way to make friends, really, is it? Where's my money? Where's my money? Yeah. What's that idiot Kemi doing on the BBC for so long? Up to no good, I bet, says Andrew Rowe. She says that equality law should protect all the same way. Well, no, because some people need more protection than others. That's ridiculous. What are you going to protect billionaires in the same way that you protect black kids? What? I was executive of my dad's will, a lot of work. Joker was right, chaos, similar to Fight Club, really. Yeah. As soon as Cadbury took over, it quickly went downhill. Cream eggs, an example. Yeah, yeah. They put less chocolate in. They went away from fair trade chocolate as well, because Cadbury used to do fair trade, or used to pretend, used to pay lip service to it. So yeah. Maximilian says it looks like the loyalists in Belfast are planning to riot tonight over last night's knife attack. And Phil has suggested that we distract them with a trail of pallets leading out of the city. Very good. What else have we got in our chat? We've got chocolate socialism is the future. Absolutely. It's what always got me with supervillains. Here's a guy who can do amazing things and he robs jewelry shops with it. Yeah, yeah. But then again, Andy, I mean, you got these billionaires who could do amazing things. And what do? They persecute trans kids or destroy any chance of there being any kind of alternative to private transport because they buy up all the chances of they buy up any kind of competition in terms of the trams, the trolley cars, the trains. They then fund groups of people who want to rebel against, want to protest and take to court the government for wanting to build new rail lines, new tram lines, etc. That's all funded by these billionaires. They're just grim people. Company executive of my mum's will, 3 months in, too much paperwork for sure. Remember when Kemi was shocked about her own party base being racist? We could have told you. Yeah. No way. I think they're just endlessly greedy, like hungry hippos as a philosophy. Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Right. Okay. So I'm going to get off in a few moments' time. I'll get off at 1:15. If you are very, very quick and we get a few little super chats in before I go, we need 3 more and then we can do Boba Fetty. You know, I'd like to do Boba Fetty. Boba Fett would be very, very cool if we could do a Boba Fetty. So let's try and focus our minds to getting Boba Fetty to appear, and Diz will be very, very happy, and I'll be very happy too. But before I go, I'm just going to have a quick look at the BBC news site. Man arrested on suspicion of attempted murder after brutal knife attack in Belfast. The man who is believed to be Somali. So yes, the racists are all about to gang up and riot. Not, you know, in the way they didn't do last week when that white kid went down for literally murdering a Saudi Arabian student. I'm shocked they haven't added the butric acid yet. Oh god, that's the stuff that makes it taste like vomit, isn't it? God, Americans can't make chocolate. It's all chocolate flavor now. Yeah. Let's see what else is in here. Residents flee Lebanese city after Israeli warning as strikes reportedly kill 3. So Israel not stopping the strikes on Lebanon. So then Iran's not going to stop the strikes on Iran because Iran has said don't attack Lebanon or we will attack you, and they keep doing it. L probably wants to see you get off. You can do can you do a Reagan elite raid if you can, Graham? Asks L. Ooh, well, you know, if you bribe me, I'm up for a bribe. Go on, bribe me and give me money, and then I'll do it. No, I'm joking. That's fine. I'll just do it anyway because I'm nice. Let's focus, says Ryan Burke with a £5 super chat. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much, Ryan. And yes, I will do a redirect to Reagan Elite's stream, or Regan Elite's Regan. I think of Regan. I think of that bad guy from what's that show? The Walking Dead. Wasn't he called Regan? And if I think of Reagan, I think of the bad guy from American History. You know, the president that they had, the terrible president. Get who off? I can help if I can. Yes. Okay. So search for videos. I go to search for videos. Like, it used to be the case that I go search for videos on the redirect thing, and honestly, there's like 2 videos would come up. Now it's like about 40 videos come up on the screen. You've got to pick the right one. It's like whack-a-mole. Anyway, I was reading up on the damage Reagan did. Maniac. Yes. Yes, he did do a lot of fucking damage, a lot of terrible damage. All the bad things that are going on right now was caused by him. I do believe. Maggie Pie says, "Remember when the flag shagging racists accidentally painted the Danish flag on a roundabout? That's how thick these people are." Yeah, the colour's the wrong way around. I mean, you know, paint by numbers is a bit beyond it's not in their wheelhouse. It's a bit beyond their capabilities. Reagan makes me think of the Sweeney. Remember, I've read that one. It should be quite straightforward. Yeah. Martin saying, "Great, Gillian, I feel for you. Did my mum's 3 years ago, only just finished. Bloody hell." Yeah, it's a source of worry for a lot of people, like having to deal with stuff like that. It turns out being thick in school does have effects down the line. Yeah, Andy, there are people out there who didn't pay attention in school, and you can fucking tell. You can absolutely tell. She's still on the BBC. Has she taken over the board? Well, she's the leader of the opposition. Don't mind her being on the TV as much as I mind Nigel Farage doing a fucking press conference and it be covered by all the news sources for hours on end. But yeah, she's still there, still yapping away. Anyway, it is 1:15 now, and I did threaten to finish by then. So I'll be back at 1 o'clock today for Graham Hughes, Right Some Wrong. So we're going to be working on chapter 6 of the magnum opus, that is the Man of the World trilogy, the Odyssey Expedition trilogy, part 2, chapter 6. So if you want to join us for that, and yes, it's ASMR. If you like the sound of clanking, what's it called, keyboards, and not much else, please join us. If it's not for you, please don't join us and then complain about it in the chat that it's not being as entertaining as my normal output, in which I try to be as entertaining as humanly possible. But yeah, before I go, I like that, because that was quite a generous super chat there from Ryan Burke. I will release the Boba Fetty, I think. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boba Fetty! I'm Boba Fett. I'm Boba Fett. I'm Boba Fett. Anyway, so now to take the helmet off. I should animate that so it comes over my head, over my hat. Whatever you don't think about owls. Owls. I love owls. Beautiful creatures. Majestic. I'll be there, going to start chapter 4. Brilliant, Gallifreyan men. Good stuff. So see you at 1 o'clock. Otherwise, 7:30 tonight, Geoscope with me and Ollie Bowler Hatman. Or we might do a reform watch, depending on how much material we've got. But I think we're going to do Geoscope tonight because we haven't done one in a while. So please join me and Ollie at 7:30 tonight. And then if you keep watching that, it will automatically roll over to Maximilian's show at 8:30. For now, if you want to keep watching this, it will automatically take you over to Vegan Elite's stream if you want to keep watching, and so do that. So until we see you again, we see each other again before we meet under this, under Milkwood. Just say thank you so much for just being there, being awesome, being cool. Thanks for giving us a like. You're not giving us a like? Well, quickly give us a like so I can say thank you for it. Thank you. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and hit the bell notification icon so you know if we're going to go live throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the months, throughout the years, throughout the decades. You'll be informed. Stay informed. Stay in the loop. And until the next show, I guess, I'll say thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.